Coming at you live from the Shadow Cheyenne Mountain, where we're waiting for the El Nino weather pattern with bated breath because I could use some use some rain over here. I'm Will Stroh, and joining me as always, the man who the other day had a guest spot on ESPN for World Cup coverage, Michael Bird. So if you happen to have those recorded, you can go back and see him. I don't know who was playing. I think it was the red team versus the blue team. Yay, sports ball. But Mr. Bird will be heading up the Q&A bungalow, so feel free to drop any questions out there if you got them, and he'll poke me, and I'll get to them. Now, if you're watching this while you're driving down the road, by all means, please stop. Pay attention to the road. But for the rest of you, we're going to be talking about the Qumulo simulator today. And as I was looking into it, it kind of surprised me. A large number of customers out there are totally unaware of this. So I don't know how or when that happens, because I thought most people did a POC with the simulator, but heck, who knows? So if this is news to you, cool. Welcome to the club. Meetings are on Tuesdays, and we all get the cool little leather jackets, so it'll be sweet. All right, let's pop this bad boy into slideshow mode and see where we go. All righty. So what is cool about simulator? One, you can run Qumulo commands on it. The great thing is that every time we build a release, a couple things take place. One, the release gets built. That's kind of obvious. Two, it gets published up to Nexus. That's also kind of obvious. Three, we build a simulator version that comes out as well, and that gets automatically uploaded to wherever the heck the sim stays these days. So it is exactly the same as far as the cluster is concerned from a command perspective. I throw that little caveat in there because there are some things that we'll see going forward here. But for the most part, it is tried and true, exactly the same as Qumulo, just a lot smaller. So a lot of folks like to use this as a proof of concept, just to say, okay, we're spinning up, I don't know, whatever camera system of the week is. We want to make sure it can still talk to our Qumulo box because it's all brand new. And we just test it against Sim, see if it works. Because again, it's going to be the same protocol access across the board. And so that rolls in hand, testing applications before hitting the production. If you already have a Qumulo out there and you're not a brand new user, you want to throw some new workflow to it and you don't know how that's going to respond. Absolutely great use of it. It has a nice low barrier to entry in the sense that if something breaks on it, you just redeploy it. It literally takes minutes at most. It's not that difficult. I went ahead and copied a bunch over this morning just to save on time because I'm here in Colorado and it's over in Washington State, and it's a little laggy as it tries to make its way over the Rocky Mountains there, the Great Divide. But by and large, if you're local to your vSphere environment, then it's pretty painless and quick. You also have the ability to make a single node cluster. Now, this is something that we don't typically recommend people do. In the big scheme of things, we won't let you do it in your regular Qumulo land because you need to go out there and have some sort of protection for when you have a dry fail. So obviously, if you have a dry fail on a simulator, well, then you have on a single node cluster rather, you can start going down the path of having a bad day. If you have a node fail on a single node cluster, we use a lot of jargon in this realm, but I think that one's pretty self-explanatory for single node failure on a single node cluster. With things like the edge accelerators and whatnot, those are all single node. And so again, the philosophy there is simply redeploy that if you need to. So in the case of a simulator, again, it holds true there as well. One thing I like to do is get a sim out there and just use it as a data store for replication. And I'll just throw upgrade files on it. Then set up multiple upgrade jobs pointing to a whole array of clusters. And then I only need to copy in one place and then just let it do things in the background. So it's nice for doing staging of files and whatnot. Anything that you're going to have to copy to a lot of different nodes or in a lot of different clusters, rather, it's absolutely great for. And you'll see we can also do this as a cloud image. As the cloud side, you get a 30-day license for port so you can play around with it. As we've talked about during our other cloud presentations earlier this year, the cloud image exactly the same as the on-prem image. There's no difference there. So really, whatever floats your goat, you can go either way. I know that we have some customers who are exclusive to the cloud, and that fits their cup of tea just perfectly. But if it's something where you're toying with the notion of maybe you looked at SSD prices these days, and you talk to your reseller, and they can't get you parts until December, you're like, yeah, maybe I'll try to spin up a cloud simulator and see how that works for me. Now, two things to keep in mind. One, there is a size limitation. I forget what it is by default. We'll find out here really darn quick when we go into the live demo. I want to say it's 20 gig per node. I believe that's what it's at. So obviously you're not copying over your complete collection of Ramones albums to the cluster at that point. As a sidebar, my 9-year-old son has become addicted to the Ramones, and I had to explain to him the story behind Pet Cemetery the other day, because he said, I do want to be buried in a pet cemetery. No, son, you don't. But by and large, you do have size limitations out there, so that's something to keep in mind. Likewise, the sim is not made to be performant. Again, it is typically 1 to 4 nodes. And as such, these are all virtual machines sitting out there somewhere in your virtual environment. It's not going to be the same end result that you'd have if it was an on-prem or cloud cluster for that. So if you need something that's legitimate use, the sim's not going to be your method going forward. Over the years, there has also been cases where what was it, 6.1, I think it was, where they end up changing some things on the back end with simulators, so you simply could not upgrade past 6.1. And so what you have to do at that point is redeploy. You'd have to deploy something that's 6.2, copy everything over, bing, bang, boom. It works, but it is one of those things to keep in mind that the sim may have other limitations put on it that you're not going to see in a regular on-prem cloud official. I'm going to use the rabbit ears double quote official Qumulo sort of environment, if you will. So keep that in mind. But by and large, if you need something for command testing, it works absolutely perfect. I know of one customer out on the East Coast. They're a big old hospital firm, and that's exactly what they use it for. They'll run their upgrades on it and then do some tests against it and just see how it works. And if everything runs clean, they're like, cool. Next week, we're going to the cab. We're going to get some upgrades in play and go down that road on our actual on-prem systems. So again, it's good for those purposes. Where do you get this bad boy at? If you go out to the Qumulo website at Qumulo.com, you will find a try Qumulo. It's like Qumulo trial, I believe. And you'll click on this guy over here. Let's see if we can't. Let's see if we can find one here real quick. Let's see. Escape out of here. There we go. Try Qumulo, big up there in the big old corner. So if you want to try a cloud one, just fill out this information so they can send you the stuff. That's 30-day free trial. If you want the on-prem, same thing. Fill out stuff here. Honestly, if we're being real, welcome back. Thank you, Qumulo AI bot. No, I'm good today. Honestly, this is so that they can track you if you're a new customer. They're going to reach out to you at that point. Feel free to put in, existing customer or whatever. Not an issue there. But then this will get you pointed over to it, and at that point, you can go ahead and download it and go to town. Now, this is going to, let's see, where are we at here? We got cheat sheet here. That's cool. Let's go over here to real life situations. So as I said, I copied these out here earlier just to save on time, realistically. But what I'm wanting to show you guys here is the fact that this is straight up just a normal cluster. So we got this 4 node one here. Technically, there are 6. We'll get to him in a bit. But let's just take a look at this thing and see what we got. Now, I guess I'll pause here for 1 second. In the old glory days, there were issues regarding CPU, memory, storage, whatnot, things like that. I have not heard of those in probably 3 years at this point as being a problem. So as long as you're on something recent out here, you should be fine. That said, I'll also note that this is all coming out of vSphere Client. There have been numerous attempts from people trying to use things such as, oh, what's the Oracle one called? VirtualBox, I believe it is. People trying to use VirtualBox, people trying to use Hyper-V. I have heard mixed results with Hyper-V and VirtualBox. Personally, I have not had success with either of those. So it's really more people with more time on their hands than I got. If that is something that you absolutely positively can't go without, reach out in your channel, reach out to your SE out there, and the pressure from customers is always going to outweigh the pressure from support side. So certainly raise something out there if that is something that you need. We got a question out here from Anonymous Attendee. I love that name. Has Proxmox been tried? I have heard that some folks have gotten it to work within the SE community. Again, I don't have details on that, unfortunately. The official, quote unquote, official method is always going to, right now, is straight up just vSphere. But, it's as long as it can read the OVA file, there should be no reason it doesn't work. Now, again, is it going to have the same performance on another application that you'd have on vSphere? I don't know. It's obviously made for the vSphere client at this point, but again, it's not performant to begin with. So if all you need is something to try commands with, then you're good to go. See, inner reports success running this in Nutanix, and I got a thing in the way here. Nutanix AVH2 looks like, maybe. Will future releases ever allow upgrade versus redeployment? We'd like to use these for our test environment so we can check the upgrade has been tested. Yes, so as is right now, you can go out there and you can upgrade this thing, and we're actually going to walk through that. And it will be totally live demo because I haven't tried an upgrade on this version yet. So, I'm going to say it's going to work, but we'll find out real quick. The thing I was referencing with the 6.1 where it wouldn't let you upgrade past it, that was due to a change of SSDs to NVMe on the back end. And I guess vSphere doesn't handle that very well, was my understanding. So the only answer out there was go ahead and redeploy that at that point. But by and large, I mean, you can sit around and upgrade these things all dang day and you shouldn't have any issues. I do have another person out here who says, yes, it works in Proxmox. So, hey, go for it. This is why we like to have you people on here, because you guys are far better testers than I am most days. All right, so let's just go ahead and create a 4-node cluster here real quick. We're just going to launch this bad boy. Get him up here. We'll checkbox this thing. And sure, this looks like a great 4-node cluster to me. You'll note this is just the same as it is with any other cluster out there. The only difference is your model is Qbert. So because I spent my misspent youth playing Qbert, we'll call him Qbert on this one because it kind of rhymes with Qbert. As you can see, we got about 163 gigs out there. So divide that by 4, and I'll tell you how much each one of these things has. Was that about 40 gig, I guess? Outside of that, we'll throw the ever popular admin123 password in here. And another one, admin123, and let's go down. Now, as this takes a hot minute to do, it'll go ahead and form a quorum for us and reboot the node at that point. I guess reboot the node, then form a quorum. And then if all goes according to plan, we should be able to hop back in here Let's see if we can grab this IP address. I don't know if this is going to be a valid one or not, but let's find out. It looks like he's forming in the background. So 147 looks good. Let's go over this way just so we can hop in through here. It's a little bit easier than this weird window. And here we have Hubert going to town. All right. So we're up and running. We can do whatever we want to this thing. As we can go through here, let's take a look at our, I don't know, NFS exports. Cool. Already got one out here. Mapping to guest over there, S&B shares. Boom. Everything is legit as a regular cluster. I guess the other thing you won't have, uh, quote unquote, you could turn it on, is anything over here. You could turn on this. We tend not to for virtual clusters unless there's some overbearing reason to do it. Mostly because virtual clusters, by their very nature, people turn them on, turn them off, tear them down, blow them up, do all sorts of bad things to them. And if you have remote support or cloud monitoring talking to us, rather, then that sends off alerts to us. And suddenly the guy who's on call on a Saturday morning is getting pinged because your virtual cluster lost a drive because you failed one out there. And obviously, there's nothing he can do about it, but you just woke him up. So typically, we try not to turn those on. But it's been known to happen in cases of proof of concepts, just so that end customers can see, okay, yes, here's how it actually works, and here's the alerts you'll see and whatnot from there. Now, if we come back over here, I have these two other nodes here. Let's just go ahead and flip these guys on real quick, just for grins. And what we should see over here, as soon as those come on board, let's see, how far along are we? Thinking about it. Come on, little node. While those two are powering up, or at least thinking about it, let's go ahead and power up this Joker as well, and this guy, since they're not there already. Come on, where do these things go? Okay, he's still thinking about bringing up everything, so that's fine. All right. Now I said we can make a single node cluster as well. Here is old Chattermax. And just as to show you I'm not totally lying out here, let's go to cluster overview. Single node cluster, woohoo! We'll show you how to do that in a second here, guys, because I know everyone wants to know how to do that, so they don't have to spin up four of these bad boys. All right, so here's my four node cluster. It now sees, three unconfigured nodes. It's getting all sorts of them. It got these two also. So let's take a look here. The ones we want are going to be 13A7 and 227A. So let's take a look over here. 227A and 13A7. So I don't know who this guy is. He's my other single node out there. So let's just say we want to add these to the cluster. Sure. Now, again, if this was an actual physical on-prem box, this operation would go a lot quicker. It's not, though, so it's going to take its sweet time. So you can see in the background here, we have a browser appears to be offline, which means we're doing a form event. Successfully had two nodes in my cluster. And now it's going to reprotect everything and rebalance things out there. You'll note my total usable space bumped up from 160 to 258. Keeps going. That will increase as the protection gets rebalanced out there. And at this point, I got, quarter of a terabyte out here. Sweet. The Ramones discography will now be safe. It's great. So again, if you want to go through these tests, you're welcome to it. Likewise, if you need to do an operation like an ADP or a TPR, You can use this for that as well to test those commands in advance and see what's going to happen. Now, obviously, if you're doing a, a TPR or an ADP for that matter, if you're doing one of those operations and on your on-prem cluster, that's going to have data on it. Unless you actually have a significant amount of data here, that operation is going to finish a lot quicker than it would on your on-prem. So just something to keep in mind. It's a proof of concept for the command, not a proof of concept for how long it will take to go through those operations. All right. So that's my 6-node fella now. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is when you name these, obviously, I named this folder 4-node. Well, now it's 6-node, so that doesn't hold true to the thing here. Additionally, I have this guy named 7843. My guess is I probably installed 7843 on this thing, in which case that's great until the day comes that I want to actually upgrade it. Oh, Bork. When my son named this one. Admin123. Let's see here. That was the wrong password. Okay, I think this guy's just a single node one too. Yep, single node 7843. Okay, so in that case, it's a really bad name to name the cluster that, or at least put in that folder, because honestly, how long is it going to stay at 7843? We don't know. So let's hop over to this guy. Here we have one lone node out here. Can't do a whole lot. Cluster requires at least 4 nodes. OMG, what are we going to do? So if we come back over here, if anyone wants to screenshot this, you're welcome to it. Otherwise, you have to wait about a week for Mr. Bird to get this out onto the YouTubes. There is a create single node cluster via the CLI command you can do here. You'll see it's this guy right here. So what we're going to do is, and these commands work the same between the cluster on-prem. I guess I don't know if they'd work in cloud per se, but certainly between on-prem and the simulator, the control F1, control F7, they will bounce you in and out. So if we come in here, and actually on my keyboard, it's actually control option F1, I believe. There we go. And just to prove it, control option F7 gets you back there. So keep that in mind. So we'll log in with the ever famous admin123 password. Cool. So now we're in here. At this point, we can do a sudo opt Qumulo qq internal 1-node cluster name, and we're going to name it. I don't know. Let's go with floppy. That sounds like a great name. Admin123. And now this is going to be the password for the new admin that's on there. We're going to keep that the same and confirm that bad boy. It will go through some scary looking things here, but that's fine. Sorry, back. And then you'll do a reboot. And it will fail, so you'll come back and do a sudo reboot, and that will work. Now, while that's taking place, I promised you all we'd do a live update of this thing, so let's see what happens here. I did stage some upgrade files out here already in the old upgrade root directory. So we're on 7703, pop quiz. Which one of these can I upgrade to? Well, you're going to have to do this 0 version. So let's do that guy first. We'll click off the upgrade. And let's go to town. And while that's happening, we will jump back over here. Start the kiosk. Let's see here. This guy is 59. Let's throw that up here. And just like blue milk on Tatooine, you have a Christmas miracle. You have a single node cluster on your hands. So hopefully, if you get nothing else out of this, at least you get that. You do that magic. All right, let's see how our upgrade's doing. 17%, super slow. But that's okay because, again, we don't care about performance on these guys. So that's going to be going to town there. Now, the other thing we can do, because as we said, this is straight up, same across the board. Let's go ahead and set up a source directory. Let's make one here first. We'll call this guy testdir. Create new directory. Testdir. Make. All right. So what we're going to do, we're just going to replicate this thing, and there's no date in it, so obviously it's a little silly, but it still proves a point here. We're going to go ahead and grab this guy's IP just for ease of use. Save that. Hop back over to Qbert here. Oh my gosh, we have one replication. Let's authorize this thing. Do it. And we'll click back over here. This will refresh in a hot minute. And it's already complete because there's nothing in that directory. So it copied over 4K super fast. Straight that way. Let's see what we're doing here. 43%. Cool. So if you are doing something such as failover testing or creating a playbook for said failover testing, absolutely perfect use of the simulator for that. Because then you can come in here and say, okay, step one on my source cluster, I'm going to come in here and set source to read only. Great. Then on my destination cluster, I'm going to come over here. And you take a picture of this and say, yep, everything shows read only. Then I'm going to make target writable. Awesome. Comes in here, reverts 4K back, I guess. That went pretty quick. Then at that point, you have everything pointing, or you update your clients to point to this guy. And if you want to reverse a relationship, for example, now we can go through that. And let's grab this guy over here. And lastly, we come back. We'll do a reconnect over here. And now he's flipped around. So before it was Qbert floppy. Now it's Qbert floppy. Wait a second. That's right. Because we were going floppy. Yeah, because it was read only there. Okay, cool. So now I have this coming back the other way from my 6-node cluster back over to my single node cluster. So if you are making those playbooks for, Ted and accounting so that he can figure out how to admin the cluster when you're out of town, simulators are absolutely spectacular for that. For expedient upgrades, as you can tell here, they're not great for it, but that's okay. We're not going to hate on the cluster. It's just doing its sweet little thing. Now, this will go through the same sort of pre-checks that a normal on-prem would do. So it is looking for things such as, are there any drives that are failed? Are there any nodes that are offline? Anything about that nature. If it finds those, it's obviously going to break that up right then and there. We had a question out there. Can you add nodes to your single node cluster? I believe the answer is no. The problem comes down to it needs to be able to make quorum. So if you have, or needs not quorum, needs a majority. That's what the term I'm looking for. So if you're at a single node to a single node cluster, you'd be up a creek. I wonder if you can add 2 to that. Let's find out. This will be a fun test. Thank you for that question, anonymous user in the chat. Let's see here. We are on 7843 for my single node Bork. Let's get him up here. 10. What is he? Let's see here. Copy that. That didn't work at all. Okay, 151.70. Whoosh. Okay, so let's get over here. He's thinking about it. What I'm going to do is grab 7843. It's this build number. And this guy should be single node. Yep. Okay. So let's come back over here, grab this build number. Up to you. Where are you? Okay, we are going to clone. We'll call this Borkaroo. Come all the way down to the bottom row here. And we'll just shove them in here. Looks good. Throw it onto this bad boy and power that on. And now that should not let me add it, supposedly. But let's get a second one going here. Borkaroo 3. Here. And these names that we're giving them here, they don't really matter because they're all going to be whatever the cluster name happens to be at the end of the day. All right, so let's get back over to this one. All right. So we got Borkaroo and Borkaroo 2 in here. Hang on 1 second. And now, as these come up, let's see where we're at. Let's see where our software upgrades at. We only left him over here. Oh, hey, upgrade completed. Cool. We're on 784 now, or 7804. Well, let's let that guy come up. All right, as you can see up here, 7804. And I think we had another one floating around out here. Let's do another one out there. That'll be fun. 7811. Why not? Go for it, brother. All right. So let's go back over to Borkland and see where we're at. Okay, so we have one unconfigured node out here. Yeah, so it's going to complain about that at this point. So in theory, you could add 3 nodes, at which point you should be in good shape. So let's go ahead and do copy. Come on, where'd you go? There we go. Clone this guy out here. Bork, bork, bork. This is actually my master plan of how I keep anyone from using my machines because they never know what the heck they are. Works out great. All right, let's throw him into there, and we will bring this guy up as well. What we're going to do is let that take care of its sweet self. Okay, so we got 2 nodes out there. Let's see if we can add a 3rd node or not. I have a feeling it's going to say no. In theory, it should, but I have a feeling it's going to say no because you basically flashed it as a single node cluster at that point. And so it doesn't have any sort of erasure coding to handle it. If it lets me do it, I'll be wildly surprised and pleased, but I don't think it's going to. But we'll find out. Let's take a look at our software update over here. Hey, we did an upgrade while we weren't looking. Sweet. And so now we're sitting over here at 7811. Now for grins, let's go ahead and set up, just because we can, upgraderoo to upgraderoo. And we're going to send these over to my buddy Hubert. We'll hop over to Qbert. We'll authorize that guy. And what we can see at this point, let's take a look here. View relationship details as we wait for authorization data acknowledged. There we go. So those upgrade files in and of themselves, you're looking at roughly 2.5 gig. So let's say we got about 5 gigs of space we're transferring there. Honestly, I've seen some of your guys' networks. This throughput is way better than some of your networks. Sorry to say. It is something you can just kind of take a look at and get a feel for it. But again, if this was a case where I am staging everything on a simulator and just blasting it out in various replication jobs to my on-prem systems or my cloud systems, great use case for it. Now, one thing we discovered last go around, you can also do this with a hub and spoke if you wanted to. You could also do a hub and spoke on simulators if you want to. That's totally acceptable and totally doable. So if you're interested in trying out that technology just to see how it works, everything we've done over the past webinars, those have all been either simulators, or I guess we did some cloud stuff out there too. So I won't say everything, but most things all done on simulators, works fine. All right, we should have that other node up and running. Yeah, it's not going to let us do it. Again, it comes down to we wrote this as a single node cluster, so now we're kind of up a creek. So what I could do is create a 4th clone out here, and then I would be able to make a cluster out of those 4, and then take this data here, set up a replication or rsync or what have you, copy it over to these other guys, and get things over that way. That would be your best option out of that. Alternatively, you just keep this as your own super secret cluster and don't tell anyone about it. And it's a cool little one node cluster that has absolutely zero protection on it. So that would be where things go there. All right. So we kind of bounced all over the board here. Let's just get back in here since we can. Again, if you want to copy this screen, this would be a great time to do it. Control F1, Control F7, that works again on both simulators and on-prem. It's not specific to the sim. That is specific to, I believe it's Ubuntu at this point. So that's just how you get about that. The default password, username, admin123 with a capital A on it. And that's pretty much the gist of things there. Here's my little grump quat with a tool belt. He's cool. All right. So if you have no other questions, I will point you to 2 websites out there. One's the YouTube channel. It's where all these get posted at the end of the day. 2 is the Reddit channel. It's been seeing some more action lately. One of the things we've noticed over the years here is when we went from Slack to Slack Grid, and I want to say it was 2 years ago at this point, one of the things we lost was a giant channel of customers. It was awesome because every customer got added to it. It was like Qumulo General or something like that. And that was outstanding. Customers could talk to each other out there. We had one guy who posted pictures of the dogs. That might have been me. But a lot of things went on out there. And then unfortunately, when they went to Slack Grid, then that got nixed. So in its place, I would point people towards the Reddit channel if you can have access to that. just because myself and Mandy Evans, we do post a lot of things out there, little one-liner tips, tricks. Mandy posts things that are a little more lengthy on the verbiage, which probably means it's better than things I post. So give her a thumbs up if you read any of her stuff. Also, like I said, we have the YouTube channel where everything gets posted out there at the end of the day. So go smash that subscribe button, as my 9-year-old would say, and we'll see you out there. Next month, we're talking Nexus. After Nexus, I'm not quite sure yet. It's one of two things. I might have a surprise for you all, and it's not going to be Qumulo alerts, but it might also be Qumulo alerts. It'll depend how fast my surprise works. So, with that, I will bid you all adieu if there's no other questions, and we will look for you in the next month. I don't know what the last Thursday is, but it's going to be a July date. And we'll see you out there, and be safe, be well, and be kind to each other, folks. All righty, everybody. We'll see you on the other side.